Hi friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. Today what I want to talk to you about is drinking tea. And I'm talking about herbal teas, putting together some herbs and making a tea blend. This is vanilla rooibos tea. I have a variety of tea blends, and some of you know that I have taken a brand new herbal course and I'm all excited. But I've made a lot of these teas before, and what I'm doing is digging in a little bit deeper, and I'm finding that so far what I've learned is stuff that I already knew, but there were some additional things that are really cool. One area that I use a lot of herbs in are my tea blends. And why do I use them? Well, part of it is for healing, inflammation, stress, anxiety. Honestly, tea has a way of calming nerves, but not the black teas. Every tea is different, so I'm going to share a little bit about that. So the water is boiling. I've got my tea in my infuser here. So it's about a tablespoon. That's about how much I use when I make tea. Now, just because I use the tea ball infuser and stuff, doesn't mean you have to. If you don't have one, you don't have to do it. I also have tea bags that I use. These are cotton tea bags. They have a little tie. Okay, you don't have either of those. What do? People have been doing it for a long time. They just put the tea in here, in the cup, and it kind of rises. But if you can't do that, you have one of these. You could throw your tea in that, and look at this. This is a small one. So it would fit wonderfully in your cup of tea. And then when you're done, you can make a second cup, or you can throw it into your compost, because the herbs at least the herbs that I use are very beneficial. Now I realize that a lot of people buy their teas already in bags. That's fine. Just try to make sure you're finding some that are well made and put together, and there's no added fillers in your tea, and then it'll be healthy for you. And I think a brand that is good is Yogi, and there's a few other brands out there that are really good quality teas. Okay, this is just about ready. Get that going. And I'm going to put the timer on for about 10 minutes. So while that is steeping, I'm going to share some benefits. So one of the things is that tea has been around for a number of years, and they come from all over the place. Yes, teas can come from China, India. There's a variety of places where teas come from. And it doesn't matter as long as they're harvested well, but you can get a lot of teas in your backyard. This is the thing that's really cool about tea making if you want to make your own blends. And yes, if you're buying from people like myself or others who might sell tea bags for you, and this is not a sales pitch, folks. This is just something that if you don't have the herbs to make your own teas and you want something that is straight herbs, you can reach out to people like myself who have studied herbs. And as I've shared before, I'm going into another in-depth study. I'm all excited. And I've been organizing my shelves of all my herbs and stuff and putting it in a place that is more, let's just say, easier for me to get to, because I'll be making more than teas this time. And I'm going to be making more than lotions. There's some stuff that I'm kind of like, oh, I've never done that before. So it's kind of exciting. So let's talk about the benefits of teas. So we know that teas have been around for years, and they're just herbs that people have been using in plants and stuff. Roots. Dandelion. Did you know that you can make tea out of dandelion roots? Absolutely. And it's really good for you. And the leaves. There are so many things in your yard growing that you can make a tea out of. And so hopefully as this year goes on, there are many that I have used over the years. So as I'm sharing throughout the next few weeks, maybe next few months, I might share some new ones with you so that you can just go in your backyard and get your own. Dandelion root is a little bit of a bitter flavor to me, but it might not be for you. And you have to harvest it differently. It's best when you're harvesting dandelions, make sure there's no chemicals. Don't harvest the dandelions that are at the side of the road where the salt trucks come by. Harvest within your backyard or anywhere else where you have not used any chemicals. And you can use the dandelions in your yard. But you can buy dandelions too, believe it or not, the seeds. And Yes, I did buy some because I think I harvested all my dandelions. I think we're still going to get plenty. Actually, there was tons out there last year. So you can make dandelion tea out of the dandelion flower. And the best time to harvest dandelion root is in the fall, because you'll see that there are still root type stuff coming up. You'll see some of the dandelion. You might not have the yellow flower anymore, but the root will be there and you can harvest it then. Can you harvest it in the spring? Absolutely. I do when it's an area where I'm going to be cleaning out to have like a raised bed or a garden in that area. I will then root those dandelions out. But dandelion isn't the only thing in your backyard that you might be able to use to make teas. But let's talk about how beneficial tea is. Well, for myself, it's actually something that I enjoy when nobody else is up. And like this morning, I got up before my husband, like about an hour before he got up. And it was actually really kind of nice. And the nice thing about that is I don't want a cup of coffee then. I want a cup of tea that actually makes me relax. And that's what tea does for me. It makes me relax. Do I put sugars in my tea? Not very often. There are tea options. There's honey. My husband does honey in his tea. He does a tea at night. It's a respiratory blend that I've made. I've shared here on YouTube. And he puts in chamomile because chamomile is another relaxing part of having tea. And you can grow chamomile and you can pick it up, or you can buy, from the store, you can get chamomile tea. And that is very relaxing. It actually helps both of us sleep so much better. If I have a cup of tea with chamomile in it, I'm out within a half an hour. It's awesome. And I stay asleep, so I'm not complaining about that. So it's been around for years. And yes, many teas come from China, India, Sri Lanka. Forget it. It's getting late, so I'm going to mess up here. There's teas come from all around the world, but like I said, you can get it in your own backyard, or you can grow different herbs like thyme, oregano, all basic herbs you can make a tea out of. So numerous studies have shown that a variety of teas may boost your immune system. It may fight off inflammation, and there are teas that do fight inflammation and even ward off cancer and heart disease. There are some teas, there's a tea out there that it's called Easiac tea, and that helps those who are dealing with cancer. You do need to talk to your provider because you want to make sure it doesn't conflict with the medication you might be on and the treatment that you might be on. And there are other teas that help prevent cancer. No guarantees. I have to make a disclaimer here. They are helpful. I feel, this is a personal reflection, but I feel like if you're eating a healthy diet, you're doing the best you can to have a healthy lifestyle, and you incorporate herbs as teas or in your food preparation, you're making a positive step forward in prevention of cancer type diseases. Does that mean you'll never get it? Absolutely not. What it means is there are things out there that fight cancer cells, and that's kind of my goal. Do I want cancer? No more than anybody else. We don't. But I'm trying my best to actually consume herbs that are beneficial for that. But more often than not, I consume herbs that are beneficial for my joints, my bones. There's just a variety of things that they're so good for. Okay, so while some brews provide more health advantages than others, there's plenty of evidence that regularly drinking tea can have a lasting impact on your wellness. And I think part of it has to do with the relaxing thing. You know, sometimes people are drinking their coffee as they go to work, and it's just kind of one of those habit things. With tea, at least for me, and I've noticed it with my husband, you just sit down, you can read a book if you want, you might want to just sit out in the morning, just watch the birds or whatever it is that you do. It's winter time, so maybe you like to watch the birds from inside. I just like to go where it's nice and quiet. I don't turn on the lights. I open the shade and I just drink a cup of tea. I'm not on the internet. I'm not reading a book. I just sit there and I kind of think through my day or think of some positive things that are happening in my life. And that's my preference. Now, white tea benefits. This is why I have my papers with me so I can share some benefits. And I'm not going to go through all the herbs that I use. So white tea is known to have a delicate flavor, and it comes from the Camellia seminis plant that's native to China and India. So you can look at your packages to see where your teas are coming from if you're ordering them or if you're buying them at the store. See where it's coming from, and then you can make your choice. It's also the least processed tea variety, so that's the white tea. Okay, so you might want to consider that. And research has shown that it's the most effective tea in fighting various forms of cancer thanks to its high level of antioxidants. And when you hear antioxidants in anything that I share or anybody else, those are the elements that do help fight cancer. White tea may also be good for your teeth since it contains a high source of fluoride, natural fluoride, folks, catechins and tannins that can strengthen your teeth as well. Helps fight plaque, and make it more resistant to acid and sugar. Isn't that kind of cool? Think about it. When we drink coffee, we get stains on our teeth. I know that after I have my cup of coffee in the morning, I'm in brushing my teeth because I noticed that my teeth were starting to stain when I was having a couple cups of coffee, and I said, oh, that's not going to happen. Okay, so that's just about ready. So that's something to think about, is the white teas are better for your teeth. This variety also offers the least amount of caffeine, all right, so it might be okay at nighttime as well, making it a smart choice for tea drinkers who want to avoid or limit their caffeine consumption. And sometimes, most especially at night, if you want to have something like this and chamomile, white tea and chamomile, white tea, chamomile and lavender. See, you can make up your own blends. That's what's so exciting about tea drinking. You have that chamomile, you have the white tea, and then you go to bed. And a lot of times caffeine is what can trigger you to stay up, and it can also trigger you to have lots of trips at night into the bathroom. So do your best to avoid the teas that might have caffeine. But I find that a tea in the morning is very relaxing. Do I have a tea every morning? No, it depends if I've overslept or not. But oftentimes I try to have one cup of tea in the morning, and then later at night when my husband gets home, we might sit down and have a cup of tea and kind of talk and get caught up. Let's see, now let's go into herbal teas. Herbal teas, sometimes called as tisans, are very similar to white teas, but they contain a blend of herbs, spices, fruits, and other plants in addition to tea leaves. If you've ever seen my bee balm mixture, and I've shared it before, and I can share it again when I get going, my container is full of, the beautiful colors of the flower. I use the leaves as well, and oh my gosh, when I open it up, it just smells beautifully. So what you do is you just dry out your bee balm flowers and leaves, and you know, as you prune your bee balm, do it all summer, it'll come back. And that's what I do. I take the full blossomed bee balm flower and I cut it down so I can get a few leaves, take the leaves off and the flower, and I dry those, and then I have bee balm, and those are great for headaches. It helps to relax. There's a lot of benefits to bee balm, but I can combine that with chamomile sometimes. More so if I wake up with a headache, I have a bee balm with chamomile tea. So, and then I just kind of like take it easy, and then maybe an hour later I'll have my cup of coffee. All right, so but you can use fruit. Some people put orange peel, dried orange peel in. They might put lemon. I don't do a lot of lemon in my teas because my body doesn't respond well to lemon. Do I use lemon in some things? Some things, but very, very mildly. So let's see. There are numerous types of herbal teas, all with their own unique benefits. Some of the most popular herbal teas include chamomile tea. It helps to reduce menstrual pain and muscle spasms. So if you have spasms in your abdomen, in your back, and so forth. Chamomile tea is really good for that. It improves sleep and relaxation. See, told ya. And let's see, and it reduces stress. And honestly, it does. When we have chamomile at night, it's just kind of relaxing. But in the morning, if you're stressed out before you go to work, or you know you have a busy day, I haven't been on for a while, for a few days, because I have been going through a lot of stuff, kind of putting piles of stuff that I'm donating and getting rid of. Some things I'll sell, haven't decided. So it's been pretty tedious. So I have had to consume some teas that are relaxing, because it's a process to get rid of that stuff. And I mean, I've just gotten to the point where I've got this big box of stuff. It's going. Let's see. So chamomile is a very relaxing tea. Rooibos tea, which is what I'm drinking, it's rooibos and vanilla. So the vanilla is going to give it a little bit of flavor. Let's see. And rooibos improves your blood pressure and the circulation. Isn't that cool? It boosts good cholesterol while lowering bad cholesterol, keeps your hair strong and your skin healthy, and provides relief from allergies. So if you're having an allergy attack, rooibos tea is very good for you. It can help reduce stress as well, but it has a lot of benefits. Healthy hair. I hadn't been drinking it for a while, and there's some other things going on with my health that had caused my hair to start thinning. And then I've changed a few things up, and I think it's coming back, and I'm hoping so. Otherwise, I'm going to be wearing hats the rest of my life. But it is good for your hair and your skin. And I used to drink rooibos tea all the time, and so I've started bringing that back in along with some other herbs, and it's and some vegetables that are good for your hair too. But I'm not talking about vegetables, I'm talking about tea. So again, though, it's good for your blood pressure, it's good for cholesterol levels, it's good for relaxation, good for your hair, your skin, your nails, all of that. Now, another one is peppermint. You might find that you can go to a store and pick up a peppermint plant, and sometimes they have those in your grocery store in the produce aisle. You can pick one of those up. We drink peppermint tea. I also put peppermint in my baking, and then sometimes I just grind it up and put it in like a green mixture with kale, spinach, and all that, and the peppermints and stuff, variety of peppermints. And I just put it in. You can have a tea, or you can put it in with your smoothie. So, but peppermint is really good. It contains menthol, which can soothe an upset stomach and serve as a cure for constipation. So if you're suffering with constipation issues, that's a safer way to deal with it than the medications that you might purchase over the counter. Let's see. It also helps irritable bowel syndrome and motion sickness. This tea variety also offers pain relief from tension headaches and migraines. So a little bit of peppermint and chamomile. I don't know if you see where I'm going here. If you find that you like chamomile and peppermint together, you've just made yourself a tea blend. And it's very relaxing. And when you want to get rid of those headaches, and yes, I know from experience, you want to relax. You want to take the tension off everything that is there. So I use bee balm and I use chamomile. But if you like peppermint, you can throw that in there too. So you can make up your own tea blends. Let's see. Now, ginger. Everybody knows that ginger is great for inflammation and your immune system. Let's see. It says it helps fight against morning sickness. Not that all of us who had morning sickness, I had it with our last daughter. I could not stand ginger. And then I noticed that my daughter, when she was pregnant, she couldn't stand ginger either. But now I have ginger in a lot of things, but not everybody can handle it. So, but it does help with morning sickness, and it can be used to treat chronic indigestion and helps to relieve joint pain caused by osteoarthritis. So you see, there are herbs out there that you do not need to take medications from the counter. You know, you go into the drugstore and say, oh, I need this, this, and this. Stop. Take a moment, breathe, and say, is there something more natural that I can take? And there are. And I realize that doctors might prescribe you things because you'll go to them and say, this is my problem. What can you do for me? I want you to think about what herbs and foods can do to help relieve some of the symptoms you might be experiencing. And you know what? Why not try some of these herbs? Now, I'm not going to go over tons of them. Hibiscus. Oh, hibiscus tea is delightful. It turns the tea water of red, and it is just, I don't add any sugar to it either, but you can add a little bit of sugar if you like sugar, or a little bit of honey, and it's a take me away type of tea for me. It lowers blood pressure and fat levels. It improves overall liver health, can starve off cravings for unhealthy sweets, and may prevent the formation of kidney stones. And you heard me say may prevent. Now, there's studies, and then there's people's own personal experiences that come together to be able to say this in articles that we read or things that we share with people. It's not that we're saying this is going to cure your indigestion. No, we can't say that, because everybody responds to medications as well as herbs and food very differently. I don't use lemon, but one of my kids loves lemonade. I make fresh lemonade when she comes over. I can't drink but just a little bit, and I have to water it down because my body responds horribly. So everybody responds differently to herbs, fruit, foods even. Some of us are allergic to milk products and all kinds of stuff. But you can do herbs, and you just try it. And if you're going to make your own tea blends, make sure that you go to a natural food store or use the herbs in your garden. I now have mint all throughout my yard as ground cover. I have it in the gardens on the side of the walkway to the back, as well as around my house. And I do that for pest control, really. But you know what's really fun? When I get out there and I start raking in the spring, that aroma of peppermint is so refreshing. So there's a lot of benefits to having peppermint around. Okay, this is all done. And no, I'm not going to put a sweetener in it because I don't want a sweetener tonight. I'm just not interested. And you'll see, I don't know if you can see, you'll see that there's a little bit of the tea in there. It doesn't bother me because this is all plant life anyway, but some people don't want it. And if you don't like that, if you don't want to use the strainer there, you can just use a tea bag, and that will help too. That'll keep it from getting little bits in here, but it doesn't hurt anything. It's yummy. All right, so that is what I'm drinking here is rubus and vanilla. So let's see. So we talked about hibiscus. Now, green tea benefits. And there are some benefits to green tea because some people love to have green tea. I don't drink green tea much at all. I used to. When I first, I would say it was about 2012, I started drinking green tea. And it was okay. I had to put sugar in it because there was just something, I couldn't drink it like I'm drinking the rubus today. Maybe it's because there's vanilla in there. I don't know. But that could be the difference. Now, green tea originates from China, where the leaves are processed with heat using that pan firing or roasting method, and Japan, where the leaves are more commonly steamed. Now, when I dehydrate my herbs and stuff from the garden, I just kind of lay it out. And sometimes I will dry it in the oven on the lowest setting with the door open. It all depends, but most often I air dry all my herbs because, to me, personal choice, I feel like it retains most of its benefits. And some teas have vitamins in them as well. So it's personal. So China does it with pan firing or roasting. Japan does more steaming method with their green tea. We're talking green tea here. Green tea is exceptionally high in flavonoids that can help boost your heart health by lowering bad cholesterol and reducing blood clotting. So for those of you who need to have something like this, tea could be a benefit. Studies show this type of tea can also help lower blood pressure, triglycerides, and total cholesterol. This is great news. Tea has a lot of benefits, and a lot of people think, my husband never drank tea until he had the respiratory infection this past fall, and I said, okay, I'm done. Actually, it was earlier than that. And so I made him a tea. And because he was asking me, what can you help me with? I said, you're not going to do it. I have that mother look. And he goes, no, no, no. What do you have that will help? I said, I can make you a tea, but you got to do it. And you have to do it every night because he has some allergies at work and stuff. And when we work in the yard, both of us have allergies to some of the things that are in our yard. Some things I don't grow is just naturally growing. Or when we mow our yard, that can cause sinus issues and everything. Also, I have to wear a mask. I'm so glad I made those masks. I wear a mask in the chicken coop when I go to clean it because otherwise I just get a lot of respiratory stuff. So I just do that. And the hay, I don't do well with hay, but you know what? It's something I'm using. We are using straw and hay, and so you get the dust buildup from all of that. And so tea is actually good because it can kind of clean all that out. And that's what I made him. That's why I made it. And he drinks tea every single night now. That's his tea. So other research has found that green tea has a possible impact on your liver, breast, prostate, and colorectal cancers. Isn't that cool? It might help. This tea variety has also shown to be anti-inflammatory, which helps keep your skin clear and glowing. In recent years, matcha, a form of green tea, has grown in popularity. I personally don't like matcha, but I'm planning on trying it again, but not right now. It's a very fine, high-quality green tea powder made from the entire leaves of tea bushes grown in the shade. Since it is the only form of tea in which the leaves are ingested, because when I make a green tea, I just put the leaves in. I don't ingest the leaves, so this is interesting. Matcha contains even more antioxidants than regular green tea. In fact, some have suggested that 1 cup of matcha is the equivalent to 10 cups of regular green tea. Who knew? Like I said, I've had green tea and I like it, but I've had to put sugar in it. So I'm going to change that up. And that's the other cool thing about tea. You can change it up. You can have green tea in there and put some rooibos in it or whatever you want. No tea blend has to be one way only. Yes, I make different blends for when we're sick. I have a great tea blend for my Lyme flares. I just make different batches, and I have a cold flu type one we didn't have to use this year. But sometimes I take it anyway, more so when I've been around other people, because it just, to me, maybe it's psychological, I don't know. I just drink it because I like the flavor. I know what the herbs are, and it's just one of those things. It kind of calms me down. Now, oolong tea benefits. Oh wait, I'm going to go to black tea first. Black tea is made from the leaves of the Camellia sinensis plant, the same plant that used to make green tea. However, the leaves are dried and fermented, giving black tea a darker color and richer flavor. You'll find that when those who make kombucha, is it kombucha? Yeah, they use black tea, and that's how they make it. I've made it before, and I just don't enjoy kombucha the way a lot of people do. I don't know why. There are flavored ones out there. I've made different flavored ones, and I'll probably make it again. I'm just not a kombucha person. But black tea is used in that. Unlike many other varieties, black tea is caffeinated. So it's important to monitor your intake. When you do pour yourself a cup of black tea, you benefit from flavonoids that combat inflammation. Do you see the theme here with tea? And support healthy immune function. A lot of teas do both of that. It helps with your tissues, it helps with your joints, it helps with inflammation. There are just so many, and some of these are great for, prevention of other diseases. Now, let's just say, however, this is the cool thing that I was reading. You don't have to use black tea just to drink. I still have black tea in my house. Because if you get a cut or if you get any infection or anything and you want to do something a little bit different than aloe vera plants or aloe plants or there's so many herbs I'm going to be sharing with you. Comfrey. Sometimes if it's a cut, comfrey, you don't want to use a comfrey on it, especially if it's a puncture wound. You want to use that. I use comfrey for pain, when I have back pain and stuff. This morning I woke up, my legs were still tired because over the weekend we did a lot of moving around. We moved furniture, we did this, we did a variety of that, and then I have been rearranging some stuff while my husband's working. So last night and the night before, I was in so much agony. So finally this morning I said, hon, I need you to spread the comfrey ointment on my back and on my legs. So he did from my neck down to my lower back because I was in a lot of pain, and then he did it on the back of my calves, and then I asked him, please do it on my shins. Once that comfrey ointment was on, I didn't put heat on. I just had that, and then I went and I relaxed with a cup of tea. When I got up from drinking tea and having our morning time together, I was no longer in pain. So am I in pain today? A little bit, but I also took it a little bit easier today. So what I want to say is, when we work with herbs, whether it's drinking, making ointments, or any of this stuff, you have to watch your body and how you're behaving. So drinking tea can be very, very beneficial on so many levels, and it can reduce pain issues along with other things that you might want to do. Let's go on to the oolong tea. It's a traditional Chinese tea variety that's made from the same plant used to make green and black tea. The difference is how the tea is processed. Green tea is not allowed to oxidize much, but black tea is allowed to oxidize until it turns black. Oolong tea is between that, so it doesn't get to the real black, and it's after the green stage. So what it does here, it's somewhere in between the two. So it is partially oxidized, and that oxidation is responsible for oolong's tea color and characteristic taste. Isn't that fascinating? It's not a special tea or a special leaf. It's the same tea. It's the same leaves. Oolong tea is notable for containing L-theanine, an amino acid that reduces anxiety and increases alertness and attention. So if you are one that deals with stress and anxiety, and you're going somewhere where you need to be alert and thinking well, oolong tea is something to consider. Scientists have found that the L-theanine can help prevent cognitive diseases such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Now, is it a guarantee? No, but some of these things that they're talking about also comes with people who have Lyme disease and other diseases as well. So you might want to consider it, just to try it to see if it helps. And no, 1 cup isn't going to do it. You may want to try it for a few days and see if you notice a change in your personality, how you're handling the stressors of your life. That's how you find out if an herb is working for you. Oolong tea is also high in polyphenols, which are linked to lowering inflammation, preventing the growth of cancers, and decreasing type 2 diabetes risk. You see, I think this is why I have been enjoying all that I've been learning over the years about herbs. And the nutrition, I have been doing studies on nutrition and herbs. And so now I'm taking this formal herbal course, and it's going to be a long time before I'm done. I'm working towards finishing it this year intentionally, because I'm hoping, there's a lot of things that they're talking about that I already know, but the lessons are teaching me some things I didn't realize. So it's kind of cool. I'm not going to just know the benefits and how to blend things and everything. I'm going to learn a little bit more than I learned before. And I just find, as I get older, the more I learn, the more excited I get. I know, I should be retired sitting and crocheting, but no, that's not me. So let's see. I want to talk about teas to avoid. Okay. With a majority of teas are beneficial for your health, you may want to steer clear of some varieties. Detox teas. There are a lot of people promoting detox. Detox, get rid of this, get rid of that. Don't do that. I've not been sold on the detox diets. I just haven't. You know what? If I want to lose weight, which I do, I have to intentionally make the decision that this is what I'm going to do. It takes work. It takes exercise. It takes accountability for calorie intake and nutrition intake. You can eat low calories and eat junk and not lose weight. You can eat too much of good nutrients and not lose weight. So you have to intentionally know what you're putting into your body, and you don't want to drink these teas that say, okay, we can detox you. Okay, it's going to clean out your colon. But you know what? You still need your body to process the foods that you're consuming. So be very careful on those type of teas. It's just a fad diet. Any diet that seems too good to be true, don't do it. Go for the plans that talk to you about nutrition. Those are the ones you want to consider. I don't consider any, some people do. Some people like some of the supplement type things that go along with their nutrition stuff. You know, I'm not here to judge because I don't understand them. I just know that when I've lost weight before, I did it with watching what I ate. I made sure I exercised and all that. And I gotta get back on that. I've been so busy. But busy's a bad excuse, I'll tell you right now. Let's see. Detox teas made for fad diets that suggest you will lose it's getting late. Quickly lose weight. These teas often come laced with laxatives that can be harmful to your health. Now, is there laxatives in teas? Yes, there are herbs that are laxative type teas. And those I knew of one, but I learned of a few more today, and I'm like, wow, I gotta be, I don't want to drink that. But sometimes, depending on how the blend is made, it doesn't do that laxative effect that you might find from those over-the-counter chocolate bits or any of those other type things. And honestly, folks, if you need, because you're dealing with constipation or something and you need a laxative, sometimes you get that after a surgical procedure because of the medications that they put you on. And I know from experience this happens, but you want to make sure you're using something natural and you don't want to take too much. So just enough. Let's see, what else? Fancy tea lattes. Okay, and drinks from your favorite chain store. Well, some of these drinks, such as a green tea with, let's say a green tea latte may appear healthy because it's a green tea. It's full of sugars. Folks, when you're drinking tea, even your coffee, and I'm guilty of this, I put a little bit of an oat creamer in mine. That has sugar, and I've watched how much I put in because I know I can't have a lot of sugar or else I have a headache. But still, when you're going for those lattes, whether it's coffee or tea, when you get all that latte are sugars that are not necessarily good for your body. Am I telling you to stop? No, I'm just telling you that it's not the best kind of tea to have. Trendy bubble teas that are also loaded with sugar, calories, and carbs and have little to no nutritional value. So be really careful of those. Those are like soda teas. They have tons of those out there. And there are some that I like, and I just don't buy them anymore because I used to like them. I don't because it tastes so good. It's a raspberry type tea that I really like. Because of the sugar, it makes it, you just want more and more and more. And that's what sugar is. Sugar is a drug to make you crave more and more. And so generally speaking, I don't put tea in my coffee. I don't put sugar in my tea. Let's see. So try to stay away from the trendy bubble teas. Herbal teas that may potentially trigger allergies. I've shared this before. Know what your allergies are. Understand how different herbs are family related to herbs that you might be allergic to. So you want to be aware of that. And as I've gone on, I have shared where if you're allergic to this herb, then you don't want to have this tea. Or if you do want to try it, just be aware that you might have an allergic reaction. But you have to understand how severe your allergy is. Is it just a skin rash or something like that? Or is it anaphylactic? You have to understand. And as we get older, our allergies can change. So, I knew a woman, she was a neighbor actually. She used to mow, she used to get stung by bees all the time. And then one day, she got stung and just one extra bee, she died because she had an anaphylactic response to it. So that's why I'm saying, I know I just said bees versus herbs. What I'm saying is you have to know your body and you have to know how to balance this. So I would not recommend if you're allergic to one type of flower and I recommend a tea for certain benefits or an herb for certain benefits, but I tell you the family it's from, use caution. And that's all on you if you decide to do it and go too far. I can't have cilantro. Everybody says, oh, cilantro is wonderful. And I put a handful in a salad once. And I mean, I thought I was dying. I had to take activated charcoal and go lay in bed with ice because I was just, I was doing everything. I told my husband, I said, David, go get this, because I couldn't breathe. My heart was just kind of like, it was just wrong. I was in a lot of pain. That's what I'm saying. Some herbs you can have a reaction to. So do I still think herbal teas are great? I do, because if you know what you're allergic to, you can avoid those. But the variety of herbs out there are massive. And you may find that all of a sudden there's an herbal tea out there that you delight in. And I hope that I can bring one to you at some point. Many herbal teas contain different types of fruits, herbs, spices, and flowers that some people are allergic to. If you have allergies, always read the ingredients on the package before you consume it. So that's kind of what I'm saying. So when you go to the natural food store or in your grocers, make sure you look at those packages. Just because I think one type of brand is a good brand, what I'm looking for is how they process, how do they get their herbs. That's what I look for. Are they putting additives like sawdust? Yes, there are some teas out there that have sawdust in it. So you want to, and no, I'm not going to call them out on it. You need to make sure you understand what is in your teas and make sure they're healthy for you, because there's no sense in having, 25% of great herbs in there and the rest no good, so that's my thing. So why do I like drinking tea? Because some of them have proven very beneficial for my health. And more so, when I started with Lyme disease, it was like I needed something. And I wasn't a coffee drinker or anything. It was 2 years ago I started drinking coffee. And I'm slowly getting away from it again, which is kind of good. And now it's kind of more of a treat for me. I didn't think I would be able to quit, but I have to quit because of a personal choice. I like my teas. And there are some benefits to coffee that I shared with my doctor once, and he goes, no, that would make it worse. I said, no, it actually calms it down. So I don't want to get rid of coffee completely, but tea, tea is really good for you. The negatives of tea, you might have to go to the bathroom more because of the potential of caffeine. Now, one of the things that one of my doctors told me was there's a lot of caffeine in even herbal teas. And I said, no, that's not true. I'm in denial of this. And so I started doing some research, and we're talking about 10 years ago. And I started doing some research. Some herbs do have caffeine in it. Now, any herbal teas that I make, I am not going to process out the caffeine. I drink tea for the benefit. Now, if you're looking for caffeine-free, I will be sharing herbs that have no caffeine. But you need to do due diligence and understand why it has no caffeine, see how it responds to you. And if you're buying a package from a health food store or your grocers, make sure you're reading the package that says no caffeine. And if you need caffeine and you want to have it in the morning, then have it in the morning. But just know any response you have to caffeine, everybody responds to caffeine very differently. Some people, it wakes them up. My daughter and I, doesn't do anything. I can go to sleep after a cup of coffee. It actually calms me down. And I know that's kind of weird because my husband, it wakes him up. For me, it's not that way. And tea is the same way. I have to have chamomile in my tea so that I can rest. So I hope this was kind of like, I was having a cup of tea and I felt like I haven't been on for a few days, so I thought it would be a great subject. Okay, I went on a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I hope that it was informative. And I look forward to talking to you soon about more herbs and how you can make some tea blends. Have a great night, and may God bless you.